Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to talk about other two characteristics of the living things. In the lesson one, we talked about the first characteristic, which was all living things are made of one or more cells. And we learn about the two types of organisms that are the unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. Today, we are going to talk about the second characteristic of all living things. That said, all living things have the ability to sense change in their environment and respond to that change. Any change in the environment can affect the activity of the living thing. We, as living things, we are interacted with our environment. We interact such as we are affected by any change in our environment. All organisms react actually to the changes in their environment. يعني it means they are affected, such as when you are affected if it becomes hot. What do you feel? You feel that you feel in the hot weather, you will start sweating, your body will start sweating. So this hot weather was the change that causes a reaction in your body. So, any change that affects the activity of an organism is called a stimulus. So, here we gave a name, or actually, scientists gave a name to the changes in the environment that affect the organism's activities. This name is stimulus. The plural is stimuli. The reaction to this stimulus is the response. The reaction to the stimulus is the response. So, how you interact with any change, this means you respond to this change. Respond is the verb, response is the noun. So, a stimulus can be gravity, light, sound, chemical, all of these, or temperature, all of these are outside the body of the organism. So these are external stimuli, while there are some other internal stimuli such as hunger or being or having feverish. These are internal stimuli, يعني from inside the body. Let's explain more about the stimuli. Let's watch this short video together to understand from its example. Here in this video, we can see what is stimulus, what is a response. As what you can see here, the definition of a stimulus is anything that causes a response, and the reaction to this event is called the response. So it's action and reaction, like in physics, or even in English, in the language. You take about the cause and effect. Any event that make a change or affect another event is called cause, and what happens after this cause is called effect. So this is in English. In science, here we have stimulus and response. The plural of stimulus is stimuli. Let's see an example. We can see the example 1. Example 1 shows touching a hot kettle. Touching the hot kettle causes removing the hand. So if I asked, what is the stimulus in this example? You will answer me, it is touching the heart. This was the stimulus. Why it is the stimulus? Because it causes the response, which was withdrawing or removing the hand due to the heat. Another example, let's see. I hope it works. In this example, as what you see, the girl smelled very bad smell, so she feels disgusting, or cover her nose. So smelling the bad smell is the stimulus, covering the nose is the response. Let's go back to our PowerPoint. We had some examples. Here, yes. When this dog saw this piece of meat, what happened to him? Actually, his mouth starts salivation. He started producing the saliva more because he knows that, or he wants to eat. So the seeing the piece of meat is the stimulus. Salivation is the response. Another example, as what you see, touching the hot plate or the hot surface here is the stimulus. Removing the hand is the response. And as what you see, like when we answer together the questions at the end of the lesson, the relationship between the stimulus and the response is like the relationship between the cause and the effect, or action and reaction, you can say. Here we are going to talk about something very, very important, especially in the human's body. Why? Because all our internal situation depends on this new term, which is the homeostasis. Homeostasis is a scientific or a medical term, we can say. You will learn now, you will have an idea about it now, but later in grade 7 we will take about it, we will understand about it more. Now, what is homeostasis? Actually, it is the maintenance, we mean to keep a stable internal environment. What does that mean inside the body? To maintain a stable internal environment. What does that mean? I will ask you a question. What is your normal temperature? The human body's temperature, what is it? You will answer me. I know most of you, mashallah, you know what is the normal temperature of the human body. It is 37. The question now, if it was very, very hot outside, like in summer, in July or in August, sometimes it reaches about 45, sometimes about 50 in the summer here. Okay, if you go outside the house, not under the condition for sure, not under the AC, if you go outside the house, do you think your temperature will be 45 like the temperature outside? The answer will be no. It will stay 37. If you are not sick, your temperature will stay about 37. You feel hot. You will respond to the hot temperature, as what we said. You will respond by removing the heavy clothes and sweating, Okay, you will try to go home quickly to sit under the AC. These are responses, okay? But if you can't reach the home quickly, will your temperature change? It will be near to 45? No, it will stay 37. If we were in a very cold country where the temperature can be 0 or less, do you think these people in such countries will have their body's temperature 0 or less or lower than 0? For sure, no. It is also 37. So the body temperature for a human in Saudi Arabia in summer is equal to the body temperature of people who live in very cold countries in the north, wherever. Okay? طب why? Because we have special mechanisms, special processes, chemical processes actually, inside our bodies that control all the processes to stay stable. So these chemical reactions inside your body keep your temperature stable. This was an example. The temperature is an example. But homeostasis is not only for temperature. It is for the temperature, for the concentration of every mineral, the concentration of the water inside your body. Most of you, you know that the water inside our body, the amount of water in the body is about 3/4 or 75% of our body is made of water. So if we are in summer and we sweat a lot, يعني we lose a lot of water from our body will respond in being thirsty. We feel we are thirsty. We need water to replace this amount of water, to keep it 75%. This is homeostasis. Also, if we drink a lot, or we take a lot of juice and we have more than 75%, how will body will respond? It will respond by urination, removing the excess water. Yeah, these are examples. What is the most important thing? That homeostasis is the maintenance of a stable internal body situation or body environment. That's it. This is about homeostasis. In the next part of the lesson, in the next period, we are going to talk about the third characteristic, which is the reproduction. All organisms reproduce, and before talking about reproduction, we have to have a look at the DNA. What is the DNA? The DNA actually is an abbreviation for the long name deoxyribonucleic acid. Okay, deoxyribonucleic acid. In grade 7, we will learn more about the structure of DNA and will understand this name more, inshallah. But for now, what is DNA? It is the genetic material that controls the structure and the function of the cell. The genetic material. The genetic material means the material that is responsible for heredity. Heredity also we'll learn about it inshallah later. For sure you heard about genes. What are genes? Genes come from the genetic material, from the DNA. Genes carry all the traits of the living thing. The DNA, the genetic material, stores all the traits of the living thing, all the instructions of the functions of the living thing, and the DNA is located inside the nucleus in most of living things. Let's see. Here is the structure of the DNA. We can later we will understand it in details, but it looks like this, like a spiral ladder that exists inside the nucleus in some living things, and free in the cytoplasm in some living things, such as what we are going to see in the next unit, inshallah. So it exists mostly inside ourselves, not other living things cells. It exists inside the nucleus. Let's go back to the picture of the cell. You see here, inside the nucleus, here is the nucleus. Inside the nucleus there is the nucleolus. Inside it, the DNA, that twisted ladder. And here in the plants also, inside the nucleus. Okay, this is true for the living things such as plants and animals, but for some other living things such as bacteria, the unicellular, the bacteria, it exists directly inside the cytoplasm, and we will see what is the difference between the living things that have the DNA inside the nucleus and the other organisms that have the DNA free in the cytoplasm. So we had an idea about the DNA that is responsible for the heredity. What is heredity? Passing the traits from the parents to the offspring. And in the next period, inshallah, we will learn about the two types of reproduction, that are sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. See you in the next period, inshallah.